Interviewing psychopaths in prison. My name is Carl Torsbins. I'm a former retired deputy warden, New Mexico and Arizona Department of Corrections. And this video encompasses my experience with sociopaths and psychopaths housed inside max custody prisons in New Mexico and in Arizona. While working inside the prisons, I've encountered cold-blooded killers that fit the psychopath profile and found them most intriguing inside prisons and how they coped and functioned. Among other antisocial personalities of sociopaths, they can best be described as hands-on killer type that brag about committing the crime only once they are caught with the evidence that put them at the scene and motive to do it. Some said death came into play because there was no other alternative of letting the victims go, as they committed themselves so deep there was little room to leave a witness during the event, stating they thought they wouldn't get caught and get away with the crime. Openly bragging how they eluded the law, they also bragged about wanting to commit another crime to see if they could fool the lawman chasing them. In a couple of cases where the homicides were committed by two or more partners in crime, these psychopaths bragged about the crime and offered details, but added this is the only version of the crime because they killed their accomplices for fear of them testifying against them in a court if caught. Calculated murderers. Some actually admitted that thought that they could get away with it, and a successful criminal or even serve as a hitman for gangs they belong or eventually be contracted with, such as the cartel or other crime organizations, as they built their reputation among thieves and murderers. I commented that this was very unrealistic and they were wanted men, and because there was heat on them, many of them would not want to leave their comfort zone and associate with them. It was obvious these kinds of comments would anger them quickly and started a volatile and hostile encounter as well as dialogue. It was obvious they don't like to be challenged in a matter of thinking or decision making. This kind of challenge to their ability to commit crime successfully was taken very personal and often insulting to them personally. Sociopaths appeared to be the best kind of informants for cops, as they like to talk about themselves in the first person. They would reveal information that was neither available through forensic gathering or other evidence, thus giving law enforcement prosecution efforts and data for indictment. They talk too much, in other words. They like to brag. They like to talk in the first person. The funny part about this entire encounter was their denial they were informants, when in fact they were, as they spilled the beans on crimes. It's sometimes about money, sometimes about the killing. Sometimes it's just about the rush. They often blamed others for their action, took no responsibility for what they did, as they claimed self-defense in some cases and no other choices in others. Either way, they justified their actions. Keep in mind these observations and inferences were gathered through interviews and investigations, where there was either a need for protective segregation, gang validation, critical incident post-incident interviews, and other fact-gathering occasions. It does not reflect any specific or particular crime committed by any individual interviewed by me. Always be safe.